Hello all, Pit Bike Mike. So, today we are going to be talking about the newest addition to my bike, a Kaoko Throttle lock. Alright, so, as some of you all have heard, if you're, been a part of the channel for a while, but if you're new to the channel, hey, if you're able to help me out by subscribing, all that good stuff, it helps out, it really does. But, so let me get back on the topic. So, you all know that I've talked about cruise control a lot, and that I love it. I think it's probably one of the best features to have on a motorcycle, behind fuel injection, but, it is how it is. So, I have decided to give this a try because, I need to be able to give my hand a break sometimes, especially when I'm out riding, doing longer rides. Sometimes I just need to be able to give, even if for somebody that doesn't have issues like I do, just being able to give your hand a rest, it makes a big difference. It really, really does. Well, I will proceed before going into too deep with a word of caution. This is not electronic cruise control. And what I mean by that is it definitely is not as safe as an electronic cruise control is, because, if let's just say something happens, you can touch the brake and it'll deactivate or something like that. This, obviously, it's a mechanical lock on the throttle. So that kind of, it really limits you in that sense to where you definitely are going to have to pay a lot more attention, when using this, so you don't get yourself into a situation that's going to, let's be honest, get you injured, because that's kind of it's kind of a big deal, honestly. So, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom about this throttle lock and the dangers of it, but, it has to be talked about. Because, yes, while it is locked, which all it does is it pushes pressure against the throttle to kind of use friction to keep it in place. So, obviously, if, let's just say it's locked, you can still grab it and rotate it forward. But, that's just an extra piece of thought that you have to, you have to think about while using this type of throttle lock. So, I don't know, let's just say you're driving on the highway and a car pulls in front of you, and you just kind of touch a little bit of the brake, you're going to be fighting that. So you do got to think about rotating it. So, but either way. Going on. So, I do have a couple small gripes about this throttle lock, which I do want to get out of the way. One, it's expensive. This is like $150. And let's be honest, yes, this one is designed for the Kawasaki, but I don't know, $50 based on, what all you get and stuff and how it acts. $50 I feel like would have been a fair price for this thing. But unfortunately, that's not how it works and how we feel things should be priced. But either way, another thing, it's because of how touchy the throttle is on the Z900. Let's be honest, this much movement can be deceleration to acceleration. So the reason I say that is because you got to turn the throttle lock more than a quarter of a turn for it to put enough pressure on the throttle to where if you hit a bump or something in the road, it's not going to dislodge the throttle to where it'll allow it to close. So how do you get around that? I'll tell you, it's taken me a couple days to get used to it, because it's not easy, and even after a couple days I'm still not a pro at it, because I'll get it, I'll show you in a second, instead of me trying to walk it through like that. Alright, now we're kind of at a decent highway speed. I'm gonna move my hand over. Alright, I rotated the throttle lock. Alright, so as you can see, I didn't have the throttle set to where I really needed it to. So pretty much what I do is I lock it, and then I twist it kind of to where I need it to be, and then once I'm going, as you saw, like right now, it's accelerating, so I'm gonna have to slowly do some fine tuning of the throttle, which I'll admit, it's a lot easier said than done, because like I said, there's such a minute difference on this throttle to where it's like the smallest amount will cause you to either be accelerating or decelerating. But as you can see, which I know to the, you know, dismay of many of my viewers, I am riding without touching the bars again. You know, I know you all got on me pretty hardcore when I had the KTM and I was doing all this, but see me missing. I'm sorry, but you know, obviously I'm here trying to prove a point that, you know, it's whatever. So, does it work? Yes. Would I still rather electronic cruise control? Absolutely, because let's be honest, how nice it is just to hit the button and not have to worry about doing all these extra steps. And then, you know, like the peace of mind knowing that as soon as I touch the brake or pull in the clutch, it will disable. Like, you know, that is a nice peace of mind. It really, really is. But so, let's be honest. Yes, this is expensive at $150, but it is cheaper than buying a new bike that has cruise control. Alright, I kind of stabilized on speed, I think. Alright, yeah, kind of stabilized. Obviously, like I said, it's not the best thing in the world, and really for what you get, I really think it should have been closer to $50. But, you know what? The positive is that it does at least work well enough to where it can give my hand a break. You know, if I'm doing longer rides and I really just am cramping up on my hand, you know, stuff like that, it works. And you know, most of the time that's all we really need is just a few moments of a break, you know, where like, because as you can see I'm accelerating again. You know, what can you do? But either way, it works good enough to at least where you can take your hand off the bar, you know, get some feeling back in there and all that good stuff, and then put it back over. So it kind of goes without saying that this is better used on a highway than side roads, because obviously on side roads you have a lot more possibility of cross traffic, which obviously, let's be honest, that cross traffic will mess you up. They will mess you up something fierce. But yeah. So besides for a couple of my gripes about this thing, it's not perfect, but you know what? It is good enough. So I will say, you know, to people that you know, may have a similar bike as me, you know, I do, when I was trying to remove the bar end weight, you know, you use an Allen key and all that. Well, so the problem is that, well, it's not really a problem, it's kind of smart. Kawasaki used a Loctite. I don't really know what kind, because when you look at it, it's kind of like yellow looking when you got the bolt undone. So, you know, back in my younger days, when I was young and dumb, I would have just cranked on the, you know, cranked on the bolt until something gave way, which, as you all know, that could become very costly. So luckily in my old age, I have used a little bit of wisdom. So when I put the Allen key in and I was like, this thing is, you know, it's in there. I took a heat gun, you know, $15 Harbor Freight heat gun, works amazing, and I just heated this thing up. Just heated it up until I put you know, a hex socket, you know, on a ratchet, and I was just able to, you know, break it free. Super easy. So, you know, obviously it does pay to take like that extra second just to think through a problem instead of just being like, brute force is the way, which if it was only that easy. But either way, I don't know. I kind of like it. It serves its purpose. I would definitely buy it again. But yeah, it's definitely something. If you're in the market for these things, you definitely have to. It does take a lot of forethought while using the piece to make sure that you're using it in a safe, responsible manner. Which, how often do you hear me talk about safe and responsible, right? But you know what? Either way, as you can see, it works good enough for my intentions, and who knows? Maybe it sounds terrible to say, but who knows? It might help me save a little bit of money before wasting it on buying another bike that has cruise control. Because $150, $15,000. There is a savings. There is a savings. But yeah. So I think that's kind of all I have to say. About rambling about this little throttle lock. So yeah. If you guys are interested, I guess I'll put the link to this one up in the description. Obviously this one is more designed for Kawasaki. So I know there's universal ones. I don't know anything about those. For all I know, they could be good, they could be junk. I really don't know. But at least the one for the Kawasaki's not too bad. It's not too bad. So I guess on that, I think I'm gonna end it off here. Nice short and sweet video about a very interesting edition. So yeah, hope you all like, subscribe. Pit Bike Mike is out.